Happy Friday. I hope you're doing fantastic. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Ayguen Sahin, and today I want to talk about a very important topic that really hit me to my core. And I really think that we have to talk more about this, and I really do hope that many more people will talk about this topic because it's so critical for humanity, for this world, especially in the times we are living in right now. I mean, it has always been important, but especially now where things get really out of control, especially for people on each and every generation, I would say. And as you all know, I'm a little bit generation freak, so I talk a lot about generations. But what we are seeing in this world, the lack of empathy, including for the people who claim to be spiritual, of course, the woo-woo people, right? Like the fake spiritual people, and the people who are claiming to be religious. And unfortunately, for all variety of religious beliefs, right? And the lack of empathy it's out of the scale in my mind, okay? I mean, it's clear as day, but let's talk about this. And I give you an example today about Ben Sasse that I have seen yesterday, the news out of nowhere. I was literally working and suddenly popped up on my computer, and I just couldn't believe it. I had absolutely no idea that Ben Sasse was sick. I had no idea. And turns out he is actually in a terminal pancreatic cancer. Actually, I will be trying hard not to cry in this video because I really have to hold myself a lot, like really a lot since yesterday, because it's so devastating to me. And I really hope that in this video I can explain to you what actually empathy means, what empaths mean, what people with sensitivity actually means, and a person with neurohypersensitivity, and if you will, power empath. I will explain to you exactly what it is, and I really do hope that this kind of clicks into somebody's brain, okay? So let's just talk about for a second what happened. Yesterday, I saw in the New York Times had a 1 hour long talk, one of the reporters of New York Times, with Ben Sasse, who was a former GOP senator, which I mean, obviously he was always, when I was following all the news, he was very healthy. I had no idea that he was actually sick. So he was diagnosed apparently with pancreatic cancer. And I didn't read the whole story. I didn't read the whole news section just to catch the cancer section, because as you know, I'm a cancer scientist for 26 years. I founded and run a global cancer nonprofit organization. My day-to-day job is to save cancer patients' lives. So that's why it's just I screened through what's happening. So he apparently was suffering from severe abdominal pain. And once he finally went to get the whole scan, they saw that his entire chest and entire abdomen was filled with tumors. And it was actually pressing on the spine so that he got so much pain, and the liver and his stomach was all pushed around because of the amount of tumors he already had, which is insane to me. Like, if someone, and he's a former senator from Nebraska, it was someone in in a Senate who has health insurance, who have, I don't know, all the money, right? I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing, but I just apparently he was way too late. Uh, once the tumors literally was filled in his abdomen and pressing the spine and all the shuffling and pressing on the other organs. So how was this not detected? Wasn't it yearly check up to be done? And it's just, I don't know, it's just too much. Like I was really shocked. So apparently he has three kids. One is 16-year-old, one 22, and one 24. And the sad part is, which is very unusual, and I don't see this at all often with cancer patients, because cancer patients usually like to hide their disease. They are not being public about it. Even with breast cancer patients, for example, or with treatable, with curable, like Hodgkin's lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, breast cancer, those patients are oftentimes more visible and say, because they know and they get more confidence that they are getting cured. So they are much more public, and that's my experience. And what I'm also following is seeing that they are more public about it. I guess because there are hope for cure and they are sharing their story. But not many terminal cancer patients are public about it. Some are. Some I know. I see it, you know, on Instagram. I've seen over more than a decade many people who are sharing their stories of dying, and I saw the ones that are dying or died later on after they explain and follow this, share their story. So, but for whatever reason, I don't know, is Ben Sasse hit me so much. Only maybe because I had no idea that it was just a literal shock, and seeing his face like that, and he describes it that his face is bubbling, burning, bubbling, and you can see it's like burned pretty much. And this is how he feels, like it's burning, it's bubbling. And there was a lot of conversation between how do you feel about like dying. It's just so sad to even imagine that someone is actually dying, like in front of your face. It's pretty hard. It's so hard. And what I want to discuss today is about, I don't care who he is. I don't care what someone say, he did this, or he's a GOP. I don't care. I don't care about anybody's belief system or what they've done, whatever. I always say, when it comes to health, nothing matters. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter who that person is or what they have done. I don't care. And that's the difference between a real, true empath that these woo-woo people are trying to say, oh, empath. No. An actual empath would not care whatsoever who that person is, what that person has done. The empathy is solid, rock solid, and it doesn't matter their past. That person is dying. And again, for me, as if you really think what empathy is or empath means, that's, my friend, what being an empath means. I do not care if that person was the most evil person on earth, and even if somebody says, does he or she deserves to die? Nobody deserves to die on this earth. Nobody. If you are religious or spiritual as you claim, or religious, then you know, and I'm not a religious person, mind you, but I'm telling you, if you are religious so much that you have zero empathy and you say that this person deserves to die, I'm not talking about Ben Sasse right now, I'm talking general. We'll come back to Ben Sasse now in a second, but I'm just explaining to you my baseline. So when you are so religious and spiritual enough to say, oh my God, that person, then you would think, or you would assume that God, right? Because your religion, that's why let's talk about God, that God has the power to decide who will die or who will not. So who are you to say that this person deserves to die? If there is another after death, the reawakening, and so many religions have that you will judge in front of God whatever you have done, that's up. And I keep saying this. I keep saying this to Muslims. I say, I don't care. That's God, between God and that person. I cannot say this person is so horrible, that person will go to hell. I don't know that. God decides. That person is an angel. It's an earth angel. I don't know. God knows whether or not that person goes to hell or heaven. Oh, I mean, we don't know. So when you are so religious and so spiritual that you cannot have the empathy, number one, you're not religious. Number two, you're not spiritual. Number three, you are not an empath whatsoever. So screw your terminology of all the woo-woo stuff, doesn't count. If you cannot show empathy in this world, it doesn't matter. Whatever you claim you to be has really zero show that you are actually, or evidence that you are that person that you claim your title to be. So coming back to Ben Sasse, I have no idea. Don't remember whatever he voted on, whatever. He's a former GOP senator from Nebraska. And apparently, I had no idea, he was the former president of University of Florida. But he claims his home is Nebraska. So again, I did not specifically and purposefully to prepare here to say, let me check who Ben Sasse was. Let me refresh my mind. Exactly, that's the point. I didn't do it. Why? Because that's the whole point of this video. I don't care. It does not matter. What matters is there is a person who is dying publicly every single day, and it's almost over. It is so sad. It is just so sad. And if you cannot feel that, number one, again, you're not a religious person, you're not a spiritual person, you're not an empath whatsoever. Frankly, I don't even know if you're a human being, because human beings doesn't have that, yay, going South Garage. I truly wish the world, including me, had your empathy. I find myself, oops, hold on. I find myself leaning Old Testament and eye for an eye, especially toward everyone, especially toward anyone who hurts children. We will get to that. I will give you an example, and I really hope after this video you will really this will be helpful to you to just open the other side of the mind and the brain. I really hope that this will help for humanity. So keep watching. So thanks for being here, by the way. Good to see you. And hit the like button if you could. That would be really amazing. Really appreciate that. So I will give you an example. Actually, I want to give you two examples. One example is I deal a lot with Turkish people, with Azerbaijani people, okay? And as you know, Azerbaijan deals a lot with Armenia, right? They have like this Karabakh region occupied, and there was a centuries, like ages long, fight for the Karabakh region, right? Who occupies this? And it was a fight between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and finally was like 2 years ago, I think, finally was over. But before then, a decade ago, when I was still on Facebook, and as I told you, I stopped using Facebook. Thank you for the like, I appreciate it. I stopped using Facebook in 2019. And that was before then, so I would say, yeah, a decade before, okay, so a decade ago. So I would, in front of my eyes, would see, and I would had a lot of friends and artists and whatnot in Azerbaijan, like Azerbaijan people on my Facebook. So I would see a lot of their comments and a lot of what's going on there. So Azerbaijani people are extremely religious, okay? They are like, every single word revolves around God, Allah, okay? And I would even argue they are even more so than Turkish people, like more so, like deep into religion. Maybe on paper, I don't know. I will explain to you. So then, obviously, in social media, and that time on Facebook, was a huge amount of fueling the hate, right? This fueling these videos. I mean, at that time, there was really like, it was a war. It was a war, and children are killed, and like Armenians and Armenians and Azerbaijani. So it was like a lot of these videos were spread out, and there was like, in groups, these hatreds and all that. And then there was, actually, I can give you two examples for that particular situation. So on Facebook, then there was in a group with all people were hating, like, Azerbaijani towards the Armenians. They're killing babies, they're doing this or that, like, And there was this school teacher, woman. She, title was a school teacher on Facebook, and she would write such a comment on underneath the video about children's killing, and like praying like their children's to be dead and all that. Like she is actually hoping and praying that their children will be dead too, right? And there was one person, one Azerbaijani guy, which like from all the Azerbaijans I know, from all the Azerbaijans I've seen, the only one. And I was not particularly friends with him, but he was in the friends of my friends. So he wrote, I saw him writing underneath her and said, excuse me, like a very, very gentleman, like, okay, like, I'm so shocked, he said, that how a teacher can be praying and hoping that other children are dead. I cannot put my head around this. I was like, death! Yes, exactly. Finally, God, finally. And that guy was Azerbaijan, so I can understand Azerbaijan. So he was writing Azerbaijani, so I understood. And I was like, thank God, like somebody has a brain and empathy for that. And of course, and I immediately commented on him, like, exactly, yes, and all that, right? So that's one example to you. Like, how can you, and I mean, again, titles doesn't matter, right? You can be a teacher, we saw in the United States how many women teacher abuse children. They're all in jail if you follow the news. Women teachers who are cuckoo in their brain, what they do with male young children. It's, again, I'm telling you, it's not just the men doing this. The distorted media, there are evil women too. And I'm telling you, that teacher is a teacher and is praying for the other side's children to be dead too. You can be angry, but not using children as your shield to express your anger. That's telling you how distorted your brain is. And I would not, if I would have had children, I would 1000% not have any children. Forget any children next to that evil woman. That's number one. Number two, here in the US, immigrant is Azerbaijani who could not speak English at all, and I was helping that person for getting medical checkups, getting health insurance, and also helping with some symptoms that person had to get symptoms checked, cardiology and other things. Zero English, okay? So he picked me up so that we're going to the hospital. I'm escorting him, and we will and I made all the appointments, so we will go and to the hospitals. And then I think it was on the way back or something, or was it the health insurance while we were waiting for health insurance, something along those lines. So, and then we were somehow the discussion came up, and he super religious, Allah, okay, like very religious and conservative too. And then a very, very nice guy. Like you could tell, oh my God, so nice and sweet. Oh my God. I don't know how the topic came toward that war and Armenians. And he went like, do you know what they did to our women? Do you know what you did to our children? Do you know what they did? And they killed that, and they're just, and this. And I'm like, what just happened? And I said, listen to me. I will give you an example. I told him that. Like, listen, I will give you an example. One of my closest friends is Armenian American. And in my shittiest time, he was the one who actually helped me out. And he is the nicest and kindest and sweetest person one of my best friends, closest friends. Otherwise, I would not call a person who wouldn't be kind and nice my friend. I'm a Scorpio, so, and he was a Scorpio too. So friendship means a lot, okay? And he was there. He was there. And I told him that. And for him, it doesn't matter. What? Just because his title is Armenian American doesn't matter. Like, what is happening? Guess what? That guy, that Azerbaijani guy who I helped him out, did all my efforts, it helped him to get health insurance, zero English, helped him in his doctor office in 2 separate departments, escorted him, went through all of his health issues. Did he one single penny donated to our cancer organization? Did he? No. He went like this. So who is the nice guy? Who is the nice guy? Just because you say Allah, 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 you are not that nice guy. He is. I don't care what his title is, what his culture is, where he's from. It doesn't matter. For me, humanity, the heart matters. He was there when I needed. Not you. You didn't even give a penny to our cancer, let alone I helped you through all your health symptoms. Who is the nice guy? And I'm telling you, when he was talking about that country, oh my God, suddenly that nice guy turned into, like, as I told you, like 180 degrees, like inside out. You can see how people's inside out is turning into completely somebody else. So when people say, when you date somebody, don't talk about this. No, I think you should. You should know about that person's true, deepest, behind the nice face, what those persons actually, what his person is thinking deep down. Because when these topics come out, you can see some people turn into a monster. Test that, put in religious discussion, put in political discussion, find out early if this person is a monster or if this person, it doesn't matter what women or men, doesn't matter. Does this person has a brain? Does this person has empathy, has a heart? Otherwise, forget it. Forget it. And let's talk about another example I want to give it to you. That haunt me still today. So, as you know, I'm a cancer scientist and my PhD is in brain cancer. I did a lot of brain cancer research. So I had a boss who was a brain surgeon. Okay. And I will not go into detail about many things. So in any case, he was a brain surgeon. So I would always collect brain cancer tissue from patients from after surgery, whatnot. But one day, in my PhD in Germany, I did my PhD in molecular pathology. So in the Department of Pathology and in genetics, but molecular pathology was my department. So there were always cadavers, like dead people in the elevators everywhere, in the basement where the refrigerators were. Even if you were in the middle of the night in the laboratory, you would go down, you're like, ah, you will see all the morgues. And in any case, that's pathology department. So the entire building was pathology. So in any case, that time I said to one of my assistant physicians friends there in the building, in the department, like, listen, I want to see autopsy, because before I studied college, and that summer where I was waiting whether or not I passed the exam, in that summer I was working in a veterinary clinic, and I have, in a short amount of time that I was there, I have seen all sorts of things from animals, like a puppy, a Doberman, 10 Doberman puppies were brought in. One died at the moment, and then at that next second, we would do autopsy on that Doberman puppy. Another one, I experienced a bird, its leg had necrosis, so we had to cut off the half of the leg of the bird. And another one, we had a golden retriever coming in, whose tail was cut off before, and then it got infection. I have known a number of people who are true empaths. Only 2 were religious. It showed me actions speak louder than Pius words. Exactly. And you will see exactly what I will tell you, okay? 100% has nothing to do with religion. Zero, nothing to do with that. I will get to that. And then even I saw that golden retriever suddenly in coma. So I was on the helping the dog be alive after surgery. Suddenly we had to do surgery, and then they had to wait in the room at, I don't know, 45 degrees Celsius to warm up that dog in coma. So, and then in pathology, in my PhD, I said to the assistant physicians, when you do autopsy, I want to also watch you do autopsy on human autopsy. So I've seen autopsy on puppies, so I want to see as well on humans. So I want to see a male and I want to see a female. And that experience, and the female was the wildest I've ever seen. Like, you couldn't even imagine. Like, maybe I'll do another video about this another time. It's not the topic right now. And the male had a cardiac issues, and I've never seen in my entire life a heart like that, and also from a hard wall this thick, and a gigantic heart, and had a lot of cables coming out from a heart. I mean, and that gentleman, that elderly gentleman, was not too old, but still elderly gentleman, was smiling. It was just unreal. In any case, so that's what those things. So in that, when my later on postdoctoral research later on, I said to my neurosurgeon boss, said, listen, I also would like to watch a brain surgery, and can you arrange that? He's like, yeah, fine. And until last minute, I didn't know what to expect or what kind of case it was. Because I was in the lab and waiting, because they will call me, and then you would go straight up, and then different building change and all that stuff. I get prepared and then enter. But I didn't get a call. So I was, any minute it could be a call. So I have no clue. And then the call came and I went. And again, I still don't know, okay? And I get all dressed and went in the room, in the surgery room. And as I was entering, then they told me this will be an awake brain surgery. What? I was like, what? I mean, I wasn't ready for that at all. Like I was like, I already dressed, like there was no going back. So I went her into the operating room so it was also again an older elderly gentleman, okay, elderly. So they already started, that gentleman and the getting ready, and there are like tons of like physicians there, and like at least physicians, nurses, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, maybe a lot of people, like this elderly gentleman. So I'm seeing this from the head, right? So he's lying like that, and I'm seeing his head here, and they're trying to put a chamber with screws, okay, screwing the chamber, like metal chamber on his head, and screwing. And as they were screwing, he suddenly, I mean, he's not, again, he's alive. I mean, not alive, sorry. He's awake. He's awake, and he's not under anesthesia or anything like that. So he's awake. And so as they're trying to put the chamber on him and screwing the screws, suddenly he was like, he wanted to touch it, like kind of like he was raising his arm. And then these, I don't know, doctors, nurses, they're like, they're trying to put his hand down. He's like, he's trying to put his hand up, and they're putting his hand down. And I'm like, you know, like I couldn't watch this. Until today, I can cry to see that. I couldn't hold myself anymore. I felt so bad for that elderly gentleman. The way they trying to push his hands down, and he was trying to raise his hands up to hold it, and they just putting it down. He was like, he just was powerless at the moment. It was so hard to watch. It was so hard to watch. I couldn't take it anymore. I went out and started to cry and cry and cry. And then my boss wasn't there yet. The other surgeon was there, and he came out and he said, what happened, blah, blah. You know, he was very empathetic towards me, and he was understanding. At that moment, at that very moment, this is like, if you believe in coincidences or God, whatever you believe in, at that moment, my boss walked in, walked in, and he got dressed, and where I was in between rooms, like you already dressed, is still clean, sterile, and the operating room, but there is section in between. So then he came in all dressed, and he saw me crying, and the other professor was there, very empathetic, and felt bad for me, right? My boss started to laugh at me and was like, so what happened? So you couldn't take it, huh? I was like, I never forgot that he made fun of me. He kind of put me in a student position. I was already a faculty, okay? In a student position, like, you know, that she couldn't take it. It was too much. So, do you want to throw up or something? I'm like, no, no, it's not about that. He couldn't get it. He did not, and I will tell you why. And I'm sure until to date, he would not understand, and I never corrected him. And I will tell you what it is. So he didn't understand it. He thought I will throw up or something. And then he told me a story like, yeah, I know. My students, they were like coming, like the surgery students or MDs or whatever. They would come, they were always like, I had one. Coming in and wanted to watch, and then they walked in and then they threw out and threw up and threw up. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? For me, and this is true for children and for elderly, I can die for elderlies. Like they are the powerlessness of that gentleman there. It was so hard to watch. He was so powerless. They were all on him, trying to hold his hands down. He's like, like, of course, if you have like something going on here, you want to just touch it, like what's going on, right? Maybe he had that. Maybe he just was just that. But they were like, ugh, and he was like, ugh. It was so bad. And the other man, the other professor understood, but this guy, no. Your boss was too detached with his ego to have human relation skills. I actually, in this context, I will not want to tell you what kind of personality he was. In the previous videos, I said it. Maybe you can remember, but I will not say it in this context. So I think you got it, what this is, lack of empathy, okay? So I'm not want to name it, but I think you got it. In the previous video, I mentioned that. That's the same person. So, and then after all of this, after all I said, and then I said, okay, no, I'm going back to the lab. I don't care. It's just like, I can't, okay? Because also, if I was mentally prepared, at least if I would knew the day before or in the morning that this will be awake, I would say, no, I will opt out. I will just do like regular brain surgery where the person is sleeping. I was unprepared mentally, physically. I was so, I had no idea. And I was also mentally not there, because then you can kind of suppress that and be more calm. But this was like, I was in shock the whole time. Like, what is happening? And that gentleman and their action, and suddenly there was like this big war between everybody on this elderly, trying to suppress him. It was just so horrible to watch. I had those feelings when my dad was dying. Watching him struggle could bring you to tears. Exactly. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like that, the struggle, It was just so hard to watch. I never forget this to the day. It was so bad. And he was laughing at me. He was literally laughing at me. Make fun of me. So, and then he told me, oh, I had a student, like, he threw up, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about? He didn't get it. And then later on in the lab, we had a lab meeting. I don't know how later that was, but he told in the meeting to my colleague that Ayguen came and she like, oh, she ran out and she cried. I just couldn't believe it. I just like, I said, I only could say, I didn't cry because of that. I couldn't even explain it to him. Like, it doesn't matter. How can I tell to this person that I had so much empathy? I was overwhelmed by that struggle and I couldn't see him suffering. That was my situation. I cannot see people suffer. I just can't. And so, how can you tell this guy, no, I was overwhelmed by the emotion that he was struggling and he was powerless. So how can you explain it to somebody who laughs at you and misinterpret all of it? You just can't. And that's my point. That's my point. And let me tell you, this guy claimed to be has a title, deep religious. I'm not telling you what kind of religion he is at, but he is deep religious, anyway, I'm not going to talk this here about it. So he is deep religious and he was constantly picking on my religious or spiritual beliefs, and he tried to brainwash me or kind of convert me or whatever the heck he was trying to do, nonstop trying to bring the topic to religions and all of that stuff. So I'm telling you, that's why I'm saying this guy is religious. This guy has a title in his religion, like an official title. Plus, he is a surgeon. Like, he is religious, like active. And he's recruiting students from his religion. And he constantly talked to me about that. If this would have been now, I could have sued him from left and right and up and down. And that time, who can you tell this to? I could have said he discriminates me for my religious or belief system or spiritual beliefs or whatever the heck beliefs. He makes fun of it. He doesn't believe what I believe. He just keeps nonstop talking about to me religious or recruits me or wants me to go to his religious meetings, whatever. Like, excuse me? Imagine that this day and age when this would happen. I may go back and sue him. So, what I'm telling you, this has nothing to do with religion. Again, with all the examples I gave to you. I gave that Azerbaijani guy's example like God, right? Allah. No. And you turn into a monster when you talk about the other cultures, other countries, people. And the same with this guy. You are religious. You have zero empathy. That's what I'm saying. If you date somebody, I would definitely go straight into these type of topics because it will come out. Then you need to know if this person has actually assimilated, internalized the religious beliefs, like what the Bible or Quran or other even tell you. Tell me what love thy neighbor means. Tell me what that means. If you don't understand that, then screw that religious belief. It doesn't exist. My dad and I, we constantly, every day discuss the Quran because he reads Quran. And I just see sections and I'll tell him, yeah, in the Bible, the Christians believe in this and that. And we discuss the connection between the two. And he tells about the Quran. And I tell here in Christianity, in Bible, it says this and that. And, Jews believe this and the Christians believe this. And sometimes I tell him some cult, like crazy Christian cult beliefs that some of my friends turn into, and he's just like, oh my God, like, are you kidding? And I was like, yeah, this is what they believe. And so we discussed about that a lot, and that's why I'm telling you, without understanding other religions, you cannot be spiritual too. It doesn't work like that. Spirituality doesn't mean you are just citing some chakras and I don't know, those chakras are Indian cultures. Doesn't exist in Islamic cultures. What does that mean? Doesn't mean the Islamic people, Muslim people are not spiritual? That's utterly bullshit. So you cannot tell me in any type of way that without understanding any of the religions, what they're actually teaching, and you are claiming to be either religious or spiritual, but no, you don't know anything about them. You don't know anything about it. How does it work? How does it even work? If you have no clue about who Rumi actually is, he's not a love poet. Rumi is not a love poet. God damn it. Rumi is one of the key spiritual figures in Islam. Like, how can you not know that when you claim to be spiritual? Or his teachings. He actually was an activist, if you believe that. He was completely shifting the Islamic belief. That's why the Sufism, he is the founder of Sufism, which is incredible. So if you don't know him, what he did, how can you even talk about any kind of spirituality? Who is even teacher of Rumi or the friend of Rumi? That's Shams Tabrizi. If you don't know him, then what are you talking about? And then some woo people, tarot readers, then claim, oh, I can practice spirituality. Everybody can practice spirituality as they like. Of course. Yeah, everybody can also practice psychology as they like, right? Because to me, psychology is not a science. It's not science. You can make shit up as you go. Psychology. Why? It's just subconscious. What do that means? Subconscious. But that's why I'm teaching you the neuroscience of it. It's not subconscious. It's your amygdala. Not subconscious. I'm a scientist. I tell you the facts. Subconscious. La, 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 la. Everything can be subconscious. No, sir. No, ma'am. Hypnosis. There's even a YouTuber said, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, whatever. Let me now hypnose you via YouTube. What? So you hypnotize somebody on YouTube that you don't even see. It's the same thing when a doctor or physician would tell you, On YouTube now, I'm diagnosing you. How can you justify when something goes awry and that person on the other end you have no clue about dies or something? What is actually happening? This is out of control. The lack of coming back to empathy, the lack of empathy, and and when you put this together, coming back to Sasse, doesn't matter if he is GOP. Doesn't matter if whatever he voted on, maybe he voted on war. I purposefully, I'm telling you, did not do my research to remember what he voted on. That's exactly the point. It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is, when did we lost the empathy for a person who is dying? When did we become so evil to lose the very essence of being a human being? How are you then different than from Satan or from an evil? How are you different? Satan wants you dead. Are you Satan then? Like, what is happening? If you claim to be spiritual, claim to be religious, doesn't matter which religion, it doesn't matter. Because I'm giving you the examples. That guy is religious, deep core religious, even cult. He's in the cult. The other one is Muslim. The other one, it doesn't matter. And so when all these woo-woo people out of the sudden, then when it comes to it, turn into, it doesn't matter. They did, but they provoked the war. They killed children. Okay. Those are evil people. Your twisted empathy towards the dying children doesn't justify that you are happy that somebody dies. And again, I don't care who that person is, even if it's the monster. And I'm not telling you this as theory. I'm not giving you a lecture here. I am telling this what I am feeling deep in the core. Why? Because on these, if you followed me, I don't know, for a year or two, I did a lot of videos on these crime cases, analyzing the psychology of the murders or of victims or whoever, and the courtrooms and the psychology of the people who are witnesses, what have you, and the experts, whatever. That's what, and then thereafter, and I could not believe these videos make me so sick, so mentally sick. And I couldn't help to make a video, and then it was the end of it. I said, these crime videos make you ill, actually ill. And those were one of the most money-making videos I had on my YouTube channel. I had 6,000 views on just one video, and it made me $20. I don't know, for you, maybe like whatever, $20. My videos make 15 cents, not even $1. And yes, that's the reality. While the woo-woo people have 1 million subscribers. In any case, so I made that video and said that these crime videos make you mentally ill. And in fact, the amount of lack of empathy and twisted minds who are these crime followers. I had no idea even the phrase of true crime. True crime. I had no clue that there's a phrase called true crime. And I had then also no idea that there are even true crime fans, like actually, like on Etsy they have t-shirts, they have like merchandise for true crime, like as you're a book lover, right? You're a book lover, you're a coffee lover. There are true crime lovers groups. Like, how twisted can you be? The first time I questioned religious people was hearing them condemn gay people. Oh yeah, oh my God, exactly. I never thought gay was a choice, so what gave these pastors the right to put them down? I'm telling you, and being gay is documented in all freaking religions. I mean, I don't know, if you love art, if you love art museums, go check 16th, 17th centuries and before. I mean, it's a known fact, even in the empires, in Ottoman empires, it's a known fact, being gay, or like in all Christianity's art, there are tons of gay depictions. Like, it's known fact, it's for centuries that in the Catholic Church, the gayness, right? Pastors abusing young boys. I mean, we all know that. It's not about, see, that's also another thing. It's not about their condemning being the gayness, because they know it's being done behind the scenes and closed doors. And literally, I went on, literally minutes before I came on live, I don't know if you heard about the breaking news about Eric Swalwell, who is running for California governor, had severe sexual assault allegations from his staffer. Oh, what? And then some people underneath that immediately commented and said, yeah, right, of course, blah, blah. And then one said, it's just unbelievable that I literally 2 minutes ago saw that. It says, one person wrote in the comments, yeah, it's always the ones who are screaming louder are the ones who are the guilty ones. I don't know if it's true or not, but in this case, maybe it's actually that, because they may be do it themselves. We know this for the GOP senators, right? Like the ones that are absolutely against. It turns out how many dirty laundry we need more from the very same people. So when we think about the human essence, and I keep saying this, the difference between angels and humans is only the human ego. The human ego. As I keep saying it, the only way you can reach the higher level of becoming an angel, if you will, reaching nirvana, or reaching the level of Mevlana Rumi or Shams Tabrizi or Yunus Emre, the nirvana level, going to the stages higher and higher towards angels, is breaking the human ego that is fueled. That's what the sins are in religions. These are my assessment of all religions combined. The essence to overcome the sins is how you break your ego. Ego and sins are hand in hand. Only the ones who can break those are getting higher and higher level up, to reaching nirvana or reaching the angel status. That's what the monks or the ones that the actual spiritual people were able to achieve. Not the woo-woo people who swear every single second, the F-bomb, the B-bomb, hating other people, turning into a monster, scamming people with tarot, with astrology, right? With nonsense. Those are things it's actually low level here. So let's talk about then the sins and the ego. The sins are that, if you will, like that's, for example, in Islam, it's the fueled by Satan, right? By the evil, which is, if you, I don't drink alcohol, if you do drugs, if you lie, if you cheat, if you, I don't know, if you are fasting, you break your fasting, right? Those are the sins. If you're not supposed to eat something, yet you have this the dopamine, right? The dopamine. I talk about neuroscience again. Again, I like to infuse all of this science into it so you can understand, so that it doesn't hang in there, like hang in the air, but ground that knowledge. And I have never seen anyone do that. Why? Because people just don't know. I know science and I know spiritual stuff, even religious stuff. And I can bring these together so that I can help finally once and for all the humanity. But for some people, it's too much. Many people don't get it. Because why? They're stuck in their own thing that's been taught and they're not open. That's why in my channel, we only have open critical thinkers who are open to learn, open to actually crack this open to learn and to get the maybe this is interesting, to be open-minded to left and right and up and down. So the dopamine crises, right? If you can break that, the addiction to porn, addiction to sex, addiction to purchase. I don't know, say purchase, but you know what I mean, right? Like to buy things, the addiction to doing things, addiction to food, addiction to eat. You don't care about other people. You don't give away. You don't give stuff. Those are the ones that are the dopamine addictions fueled by dopamine, and these are also fueled with the sins, basically. That's what the religions, for the religions, these are sins. But from the neuroscience perspective, it's the dopamine addiction, right? The dopamine, the satisfaction of, for example, in Christianity, in Roman Catholicism, when you fast, you don't, and I like that a lot, because that's literally breaking the dopamine, okay? The dopamine addiction. And that's when you are fasting in Roman Catholics, then you cannot eat food that satisfy you, like chocolate, like Coke, like coffee, like this satisfaction feeling, dopamine, right? That's sin. in Islam, right? You can't drink alcohol. You can't drink pork like Jews. Actually, Judaism and Islam is so like pretty much identical, if you want, if you will. The rules are identical. No pork, no pork. Headscarf when you enter the mosque and went to the synagogue, you have to cover up. That's the rule. So a lot of things are similar, but of course, this is all politics, has nothing to do with religion. And I'm telling you the religion. But if you don't understand religion, there is no spirituality. You must understand the logic first of what actually a human being means. And that I'm telling you, that's the difference. The only difference. Meaning we have the capacity to become angel-like or close to that, like nirvana, reaching the steps which the woo-woo people call higher vibrations. Like you are ascendant. These are all made up terminologies, like screw all of that, okay? It doesn't matter. It's literally to reach the nirvana or the level of an angel, you overcome these dopamine addictions. But as a sin, again, this is neuroscience, dopamine. Religion, sin. Same thing, doesn't matter. And if you think it like that, it just becomes like duh, right? It doesn't become like, oh my God. It's just overcoming the dopamine addiction. And how? You can just put from amygdala into the prefrontal cortex. That's how. Then everything becomes logic. This is whole right now, my prefrontal cortex is speaking. Because then when you think it like that, you're like, ah, okay, I can do that. Meaning it's achievable. If you can not lie, if you can not cheat, if you can work hard, if you can not talk behind people's back, if you cannot step behind people's back, if you care for other people, if you just have a piece of bread that you just put in two pieces, give it to your neighbor, if you help the people on the street, if you, I don't know, help the veteran, volunteer, give yourself to the community, what? That's it. That's actually it. And most importantly, those are actions. But most importantly, to understand we are all human beings equally. If you don't get that, you are not religious, full stop. If you don't get that, you are not spiritual, full stop. If you don't understand that every single person and every single animal and every single plant, every single bacteria, every single yeast, fungi, and all from entire ecosystem is here equally in a ecosystem that supposedly or was well functioning on its own. If you don't get that, you get pretty much nothing in life. That's life. That's what we call its life. Why? Without the tree, you can't breathe oxygen. Full stop. Without the oceans, you can't breathe the oxygen. You cannot get the rain. The rain cannot feed the tree. The tree cannot give oxygen and suck in all your dirty carbon hydroxide. Like, If you don't get that, if that's why I have multiple videos about that. If you don't get biology, you don't have to study biology. But if you did not get anything regarding biology, it doesn't matter. You're not spiritual. You're not religious. You are not an actual human being with all sense that was created by God, by spirit, whatever you call. If you don't get that, there's no point. What's the point? That's why I'm saying the more, and we talk a lot about this with my dad, this system wants us dumb, okay? Full stop, period. Cult leaders want you to be dumb so that they can manipulate you and so that they can get the money, they get the power, and they get their satisfaction. You know what I'm talking about. Same thing with woo-woo people. They want you to be dumb and not thinking so that they can suck up all your money and manipulate you to get the money. Tarot readers, astrologers, woo people, whatever, all scale. Same thing with politicians. Same thing with dictator leaders. They want the people to be there. Why is the school system, education, immediately the first thing to be eliminated? Why? Why? You tell me why. Why? Because if you are educated, for God forbid, how can you be a follower? You cannot be a follower because you have a brain and you're like, oh, this is not right. Oops. And then you become the black sheep and you become the person to point to, and then you're done. Or you are extracted from the family, you're extracted from the society, you're extracted from the school, you're extracted from your friend circle, from the community, from work, from the colleagues. It doesn't matter because you're not a follower anymore. I speak from experience, okay? That's what it is. Many people don't want you to be smart, to be knowledgeable, or think too much, or think too much. Did I just say think too much? Yeah. I had a professor telling me that I am too confident. Why? Because he was a Russian, not because of he was I don't know. His mentality, he was a antisocial, like sociopath, okay? And he was such a racist that he wanted all non-white, non-English, from people from English countries, like English-speaking countries, like Brit, America, or Australia, everybody else in the entire world in one low level to be suppressed, to serve as a servant. And this is research. This is cancer research, okay? And this guy is a big shot as a professor, cancer researcher. So, and I'm telling you, well, what's going on in science? It's like in academia, in industry, medical industry, I'm telling you, it's sick. It's actually freaking sick. The racism, I just told you with my boss, that's another boss, and this is another boss. So if you cannot be a follower. I was too too confident for him. He told, first time in my life I've heard that. So this is real stuff. I want you to look into your life. Where do you see that kind of thing? It can be family, can be work, can be society, can be YouTuber, can be your community, friend circle, can be your clubs, can be your neighbors, your building where you live. You can be non-stop the black sheep, but I dare you, please think about me. If I can do it, I can push through it. My dad can do it. You are not alone. You can do it. We are here for you, including my dad. We are here because we are doing this every single day. Every day. From left and right and up and down. Dealing with people who are so dumb and they don't, because you're an outliner. You're outliner, right? You are not belonging because you have a brain and you use your brain. Everyone has a brain, but you use your brain. And that's the important part. So we need more people like us to open-mindedly, critically think. And you can only do that if you know. That's what I'm talking about. Knowledge is power means that exactly. You need to be able to know first so that you can open your brain and then you can analyze it. Without knowing, you can't analyze anything. And that means because you can't analyze, you cannot detect what's wrong, what's right, and you will be manipulated because somebody tells you, this is wrong and this is right. And you're like, okay, that's easy. You tell me. We don't work easy here. We don't work easy. We don't want easy. We want here. I personally, I want you to think about that. I personally would not ever would want anybody telling me, which is, I'm getting so pissed about that. I'm giving example, real life example. I would never, ever would anyone tell me what to think, what to say, what to do, ever. For example, I'll give you an example, real life example. Same thing. I'm a very busy person. I always was, I guess. I don't know if I always will be, but I guess, right? We are only here for such a short time. I cannot believe any one religion is the only way, simply because they find a way, find a way to exclude others who do not agree with them. Exactly. It doesn't work that way. And don't even get me started who actually founded these religions anyway. That's another story. And if for this, I want you to go to my playlist and says the change of world order. Go to that playlist. And there is 2 videos I want you to watch. One is where I predicted the pandemic. That was my very first video of my entire YouTube channel. And that is, I talked about the Piscean age, 2000 years of Piscean age. And then I have another video called the new era, the Aquarian age, and next 2000 years. There I explained the birth of the religions and my prediction of the future regarding religions. Watch those 2 videos. Those are my key core videos about to help you to understand the whole big view of everything. So give you a real life example. I am a very busy person. And then my friends, like during my postdoc time, whatever, they would always go like partying, whatever. And then when I would say, why didn't you call me? And those are the people who, whenever they have a problem, they will call me and they occupy me for hours and hours and hours and hours on the phone, or come to me and I will listen to their problems. And then the very next day, that exact person would go party with my friend group and they wouldn't call me. And I'm like, why wouldn't you call me? Like, oh, I know you're so busy and I didn't want to bother you. You're so busy. I know you're very busy. Like, how? Like, how would you decide whether or not I can manage my schedule? How would you know that I am that day busy? Like, it brings my brain to the roof. I get so pissed, and I'm not one time, not two times, all the time. I would hear that. Even PhD, it doesn't matter what country I was. The assumption, I get so mad of people's assumptions. Like, oh, I know you're very busy. Like, screw you, call me and ask me whether or not I'm busy. But then when they have a problem, nobody asks me, oh, Ayguen is so busy, maybe I shouldn't bother her. She came from lab at 10 p.m. So it's better if I don't occupy her for 3 hours on the phone. Maybe she's hungry. Maybe she needs to take a shower. Maybe she needs to work, continue to work. It's 10 freaking p.m. She just came back from the lab. Doesn't matter, because it's their problem. Of course, doesn't matter. But then it's their partying. Oh, suddenly they care about me? Like, again, how dumb these people think we are. And I want you to, I'm giving you these real life examples so that you know that I don't speak for theory. I live through this. Every single word I'm saying on my YouTube channel is I'm living through this. And that's why I'm giving you these examples so that you like, because these are micro things that so people are overlooking. And I'll give you these real life examples so that you're like, yeah, that's exactly right. This happened. Yeah, that person did this and this person did that. Not to be paranoid, but to understand how messed up and twisted this world is, and this has been normalized for way too long, and it gets worse. If you know the Gen Z is what's happening, and their brain they are so checked out, they are so overwhelmed and so checked out, they don't care a shit anymore about anything. That's a loss for humanity, because everything is so what I'm saying is, just go. If you have a sane brain still, mentally stable, just go to but I don't want you to go there, because once YouTube algorithm sees that you are watching one or clicking on one true crime, I don't know, video or court case, whatever, then you will see millions of those. I couldn't get rid of those for 6 months without, I wouldn't watch for 6 months and YouTube still would show me. I would persistently not watch it. So finally got rid of it, the algorithm, for 6 months. So that's why, if you can see the other way, hitting like makes a huge difference. So hit the like button if you haven't already, so that this can be spread to more people who are finding us, people who are lost, and actually looking for people like us to connect, to join, to finally, because they are, I know for a fact people are so get sick and tired of this, but they cannot find the true people who are like this, who actually can speak and have still a brain to function. So, and to speak up about this stuff. I don't hear anybody talking about this. So when you go and to check at least like the true crime, the comments, don't even watch the video, just the comments. I like to do that. I read the comments a lot, because that you can see the twisted brains of humanity. I told you in one of the videos, I told you there was a woman, it was like a murder case, and there was on the comments a woman. I swear to God, I cannot believe that comment wasn't flagged, I reported it. You know what she said? I cannot wait to do this to my husband. To do this to my husband, or whatever, however that was the case. Can you believe it? Don't believe me? Go and see the twisted, sick brains on these true crime channels. It is so normalized. It is so normalized, which is insanity to me. I told you, I was sick. I was actually sick mentally. I couldn't take it anymore. It was so to cover, as an empath, to cover these kind of like murder cases. That's what I'm saying for me. And I will, and after this, for me, and I got so much about this. Even again, I cannot be happily watch somebody get fired. I get so, in my core, my heart gets so sad. Even if it's in a Trump cabinet or what, a Biden cabinet, doesn't matter. I don't like people, even if it's the most horrible person, the fact of being fired is horrible. I don't care if it's Bondi, I don't care if it's, doesn't matter. The action of being fired is just so humiliating to me, so horrible. Like her picture were in the trash, like right away. How can people enjoy that? It's humiliating for anybody. And you're like, oh, she was so brutal. I understand. She was horrible. We know that. I did a million videos about this. But again, that's my whole point of this video. It doesn't matter. Can you feel sorry just a tiny bit? Or if something happens in your here, that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to bring out in you. That's still the glimpse of hope for humanity, if you have that. If you can still be sad for Bondi to be fired. It's horrible. She studied probably her entire life. Yes, she was evil, but still, it's sad. I would never want anyone to be fired. I would not want anyone to be dying from sickness. I'm telling you, when it comes to health, I don't care. Say, for example, a veteran. This is their job to kill people, right? And maybe they have done evil stuff over there. But when you see a veteran, an elderly, disabled, and it's just sad to watch it. I don't know. I have a very, very, something else triggers me when about veterans because I volunteered for veterans, and around the country, every time I see veteran, I know I saw them being so sick, and that hurts me because they sacrifice for, I don't know, maybe they kill people, but still to see them sick and disabled or not functioning, shaking hand while they're trying to eat is so sad. If I don't understand how people don't feel anything in their heart about this. Even if a monster kills somebody, get life in prison or get executed, I cannot be happy about this. I just can't. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand how people can. That's the difference. This is an empath. Empaths do not get happy of people's suffering. Ever. Animals, trees, anything in whole world, ever. And I want you, I'm not telling you, asking you, you can't be out of nowhere an empath. It's you have it inside of you or not. I'm just asking you to bring your humanness, the actual, your essence of your human, your heart back out even a tiny little bit and see things from the other side of the coin. Because think about it, and this is a true fact. This is in another level. If you think about spirituality or universe, whatever you want, this is a true fact. In Turkish, there is a saying, don't laugh at your neighbor, it will happen to you. Something like that. This is how we grew up. This is like a known phrase. This is a known phrase in Turkish. There's even a song about that. And a very famous song, very classic, literally with this phrase. And this is true. It's actually true. And that happened to me multiple times. When I, in the past, younger, when I would be like, yeah, like the scorpionic thing, right? The uninvolved scorpion, when you say, yeah, you did this to me, and I'm so happy that this happened to you. This is karma, right? Later on, I really realized, became conscious, everything you wish for other people will straight come back at you. Seriously, I want you to never forget that. This is a true fact. Karma turns around and hits you in the ass. 1000%. And that, my friend, that realization and actually seeing that's happening, that also helped, I'm telling you, helped me to actually consciously, prefrontal cortex, consciously stop my thought and say, no, I'm not going to go in there. I don't care, whatever. I will do my best to fight my fight, but I'm not going to wish anyone harm just because they hurt me or did bad thing to me. Doesn't matter, because every time I couldn't watch anything about Christy Noem's husband. It's none of our business. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And how people get so jazzed up about it is so sick. In the US, we were always told, never forget that, there, but for the grace of God go I. There, but for the grace of God go I. What does it mean? I don't know. I never heard of that before. Can you tell me what that means? There, but for the grace of God I go. What does that mean? Can you tell me what that means? I don't know what that means. I've never heard of that before. That you gave me something to think about. I will research that. So, I don't know where I was, what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, I forgot. But I think it's very good time to end here. I really do hope that this gave you some food of thought, and I really, really would want you to walk now with more consciously about when something happens and your brain tells you, oh, I wish them karma goes back and bite them, right? Stop it. Prefrontal cortex, stop it. No. Just consciously say no. If I need to fight them, I will fight them legally in court or with email or with whatever the heck, phone, whatever, but not spiritually want them to karma go back and bite them. It means that the person you may be picking on or insulting could easily be you, but for the grace of God. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Exactly. It could have. That's why I say when people get fired, I get so sad because this could have been you. And you're like, I would never be like that. Excuse me? Like in this economy, everyone is getting fired from left and right. Doesn't matter. So even if you are a good person, you can be fired because you're a good person. Why? My colleagues were all freaking evils. I was always the black sheep. So what I've been and what I endured my entire career, it's insane. I can write an encyclopedia about this. Workspace mobbing. It's surreal. It's actually surreal. I was so young. If I had my mind, that's what I'm saying. If I had my mind now, I would screw them from left and right and upside. Would turn them upside. I'm not legally though, because now I know I do fight my fight legally. Doesn't matter in court or not. It's just via email, via phone. Like, you don't do this to me because I know exactly what you're doing. You don't mess with me. That's all my spank now, all my spiel. Because I know I'm backed up for my knowledge about my rights, the law, because I am following the law of this land and the law of the heavens. So that I'm telling you, that's what I'm telling you. With my courses, right? My justice class, my blueprint. You need to be prepared, backed up yourself. The rest doesn't matter. Why? Because you know that you are backed up by law of the land and law of the heavens. If the law of the if the heavens want to help you, it's up to them. But It's better to be protected, right? The same thing with law of the land. You don't know what will happen, but it's good to be protected. That's exactly how it works on both levels. You do your job. That's your job, both to be on the safe side. But again, not wishing anyone, you hurt me and I want you to hurt again. Stop immediately, because that will help you so that you can focus on you. That's what we do on our channel. Focus on you and focus on these two levels. That's it. Then, my friend, I'm telling you, you will be protected for life. And I'm telling you this. So long you are a good person, do follow the law of the land and law of the heavens and use your brain. That's all. That's all. No, never wish harm for anybody. And again, I told you, I cannot watch people getting jazzed up when a murderer gets executed or whatever the heck. I can't. My soul gets tortured. I don't know if you ever felt like that. I feel like my soul is being tortured. I can't watch people suffering. Doesn't matter who. Again, that's if they killed somebody, it's up to God and that person. I understand it's, listen, okay. If you tell me, and people tell me this, if this was like you or somebody close to you, listen, I'm giving you example of my family. My cousin, and apparently all my cousins have died from car accidents that they haven't committed. Was done by other people. I don't know why that is, but just thinking about it. My oldest cousin of the Sahin's family, my father's side, the other ones that died from that psychopath was my mother's side cousins. So my oldest cousin of the Shahins, my mother's side, we have tons of cousins, but for my father's side, we are a close group of cousins, not many. We all grew up in Germany. So my oldest cousin of the Shahins, he was an avid driver. Like everyone in our family is like, we are awesome drivers, okay? My dad, my uncle, we all of us. I'm a good driver. I'm an awesome driver. So I don't have a car, but I'm an awesome driver. So my cousin would go long distance travels, like countries. Okay, never an issue. One time, he would drive from, at that time he was in Turkey, and he wanted to visit. At that time, his brother and his family was also in Turkey, living in Turkey, and then they all moved back later, back to Germany. But at that time, they were starting a business or something like that. So they had new kids, so he wanted to visit them. And that's from Istanbul to Antalya, like very long distance. So this like at least 14 hours ride or something like that. So then he would drive, and he said, I will go, and he would ask a far cousin of us, not relative, not cousin, but relative, young couple, if they want to come. And they said, we want to come too. I said, okay, fine. So they were all driving, and he would drive all the way down. On the way back, he would also drive back. And close to Istanbul, there's a city. It's like 40 minutes away, an hour maybe tops. The final 1 hour. Then this young man says, hey, can I drive? And he was in his 20s. And in the back seat was his fiancée. She was lying down and he was driving. He said, yeah, fine, you drive. And he was sitting, my cousin was sitting in the side seat. And then he was so inexperienced. And he got sidetracked, and then the car went to the side. Long story short, they survived. My cousin died. So that was also a weird story because they thought first they died, my cousin survived, and then my cousin died and they survived. So that was for us, and especially for my dad, because for my dad, he was his first ever nephew. And they were so close, like friends. They were in Germany, they were like kind of like very close, like best friends kind of thing. They would understand each other. Jokes. He was an Aries, my dad is an Aries. They got along so well, like best friends. For my dad, he was like a deepest love. It was for our entire family until today. This was happened in 2001. This happened in 2001. 2001 was one of the most horrendous year of everybody. 2001. So it is to the day, it is horrible for all of us that the way he tragically died. And he of everybody, so helpful, so kind. He was helping everybody. He was helping everyone. And I couldn't, me personally, at that time I was in PhD. Yeah, I was in PhD. First year PhD in Germany. So I got the news that he died in Turkey. I couldn't see him. I was the only one couldn't fly because they gave me too late information that he died. So everybody already flew and I didn't know. In any case, when I then went to Turkey in that summer, or 1 or 2 summers later, and I visited my aunt, because those kids, these young couple, were her sister's children, son and the fiancé. So I went to visit to my aunt, and then I look up where I was sitting, across from on the wall was a gigantic picture of their wedding photo. That guy and the fiancé was like in wedding dress. I was so uneasy with that. Everybody moved on as nothing had happened. And my family, nobody in my family were mad at them or stopped seeing them, stopped talking to them, or were angry or like, I will screw you over like this. Everybody was like accepting and calm and like, yeah, that happened, And I was the only one, like, why is everyone so accepting of this? They moved on with their life. They got married, smiling in front of me. There's gigantic picture, and then nothing has happened. Like, I even asked everybody, like my uncles, my dad, mom, like, did you even ask, like, or held them accountable, or do you want to sue them? Or I don't want to sue them. Like, did you even hold them accountable or say a word? They're like, what can you do? Like what? So yeah, everybody moved on. So that's what I'm saying. When people tell me like, oh yeah, if this happened to, it happened to me. It freaking happened to me. And nobody in my family did anything, say anything. They just accepted that happened. It was an accident. And I was the only one screaming to my lungs, like, it's just, it was so uneasy about this. So that's what I'm saying is just real life example of why their own parents, his own parents, like my uncle and aunt, they're not mad at anybody. And to the day, nobody's mad at them. They have their, because my family always say like they already are guilty, like, you know, like inside of them. Like what would be gain from pushing on them and say like, yeah, you did this, yeah, you did this. They killed somebody, like, and close, like from family, right, a relative. I mean, somebody in this country, they would have gone to jail. They moved on, got married, happy life. I don't know. Maybe he has meant. I don't know. I never saw him ever again. I haven't seen him for so long anyway, but haven't seen him after that at all. I have no clue what's going on. Of course, they had got a lot of surgeries themselves, so he went through a lot. I mean, but I'm sure he would be devastated because my cousin was an important figure in the entire Sahin family. So I'm pretty sure like everybody said like, yeah, probably he's like, and that's the thing, like he probably, if he has a good heart, which he had a good heart, is already probably suffering. But of course, if he's a monster, then that's not our business. So after, like, I learned so much when things turned around, the heavens, you know, there's this this, I don't know what you call it, like Native Americans have that, it's like a triangle, you throw it and it just comes back at you. I don't know what you call that. It's like wooden thing that you throw and it comes back at you because of the shape. It's like a triangle like this. It's like wooden. So it's like that. When you wish somebody bad, it will come back at you 1000%. So my last recommendation, stop it when that comes to you and back yourself up with the law of the land by always staying on the right side of the road, by backing off the law of the heavens, by being a good human being, and then let it fly, let it slide, because if you fight the fight, it's fight with the law, not by like negativity. That's will come back straight at you. But if you stay here on the good side, I'm telling you, you will be 1000% protected. And that's the core and the base of my blueprint of my justice class and abundance class. This part here is my life's blueprint. And I'm telling this from facts, from experience, using myself as an experiment, and it works. That's it. Nothing else matters. Okay? It may be an Australian boomerang. Maybe, I don't know. Boomerang, maybe. Yeah, it's like wooden, like a triangle. I don't know what it's called, but I think I've seen this in Native American, something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I hope you find this helpful. Thank you so much for being here, going South Garage. One day you have to tell me what that means. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love to New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. And I wish you a fabulous weekend. Enjoy. If you haven't done your taxes, do your taxes. Don't forget that. Oh my God. I mean, if you're in a hamster wheel for the last 2 weeks, yeah, it's the Aries season. So the upcoming week is going to be unbelievable. It's just full on. And yeah, maybe we'll cover this another time. So thank you so much again. Have a good night. Sending you so much love. And don't forget to share this video with all your friends and family. Let's spread the humanity once and for all in the right way and bring back humanity to this world. Bye-bye.